right, I am back with a different kind of video today. As you may have seen, I'm not posting that much lately. This is a Destiny focused channel generally, and then when I veer away from that, people tend to get mad, or people are just mad at talking about Dragon Age because, you know, this is YouTube. There is not that much to talk about with Destiny right now. There will be some sort of live stream about the second act next week. Truly, I've forgotten when Act 2 even starts because we did everything story-wise in week 1. I really have no clue of what week we're at right now. But I thought I would try to start something that's like kind of a weekly news roundup based on stories that I've covered and written about. Sorry, I know SkillUp owns the weekly news format for his showcase, but I figure I can do it too. So I want to pick 5 stories that I thought were kind of the most interesting, and then some of these are sort of like things I've been playing in this week too, and what I think about them in mixed between actual news. So I'm going to go 2 of these I wrote about today because they seemed the most relevant. There was a lot of news yesterday across TV, movies, games, everything. The most absurd story I think I've seen of the week is what's going on with the lawsuit where Nintendo is suing Palworld. It was just revealed today by Pocket Pair, the Palworld developer, exactly what patents they were supposed to have broken and how much Nintendo is asking for. It is both absurd in terms of the amount of money Nintendo is asking for and what patents were supposedly broken. Interestingly enough, the amount of damages is not what you would imagine from Nintendo. It is barely anything. They're asking for the equivalent of $66,000 plus like some back pay for things, but $66,000. This is Palworld, which sold 25 million copies as of last June and was the second most concurrently played game on Steam ever. You can debate where it's at right now, but really massive game. That's, they can buy that in their sleep, picking up change off the ground. So I don't quite understand Nintendo's aim there. It seems more like they're trying to teach them a lesson rather than extract any sort of significant money from them or like try to shut them down or bankrupt them through fees and payments and all that. And that message is don't break our really weird patents. The patents listed here, there's 3 of them, and the first 2 are essentially about catching monsters. It's like a combination of catching monsters out in a field, quote unquote, and then the difference between like, a battle state and a catching state. And it says something to do with like the finer points of catching Pokemon or catching pals. I don't know if it's like literally we own the entire concept of catching monsters, but Nintendo thinks they have enough of like a granular case here in terms of what specifically Palworld has done, to break their patents. If you have played Pokemon and Palworld, it does not seem like the catching mechanisms are similar other than you throw a ball, it hits a thing and you catch it. Palworld, it's very real-time live action. Your monsters that follow you around are attacking in real time. You are whacking pals with swords and shooting them with guns in order to get their health down to throw a ball at them. It's very strange. And then the third patent is something about riding creatures in an open world and then transitioning between the creatures you can ride easily. No clue what that's about. You can ride different pals. You get on your flying pal, get on your running pal that you have with you. This can't be just about creatures in an open world. Like that's any game with a horse. That's like Chocobos in Final Fantasy. It's very strange. And Nintendo just kind of comes off looking like a patent troll here. And it's kind of absurd that they own these patents in the first place. And we've seen patents in the video game industry really clamp down on creativity. I think most famously the Shadow of Mordor Nemesis system was patented, which was like an awesome part of that game. And now no one has essentially ever done that again, really in any meaningful capacity. So that kind of sucks. I don't know what the end result of this will be. If it's just Palworld gets a slap on the wrist fine, whatever, but it's a very strange case all around. The second thing that came up today is WB saying that they were disappointed in the past year of gaming, which Obviously, that is Suicide Squad's performance, which lost $200 million. This is opposed to last year when Hogwarts Legacy sold 25 million copies. But they want to lean into their quote unquote billion-dollar franchises, which include Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, and I think I'm forgetting a different one. But then also they say like especially the Batman in particular, or especially Batman in particular. This seems to confirm previous rumblings that Rocksteady was moving on from Suicide Squad to a new Arkham game. Back to the basics there. This is after, Suicide Squad was a disaster, but they still have made a full year of live content for Suicide Squad. They have done their roadmap. They essentially have not skimped on their roadmap. This is what they were always going to build. This is not Concord. They did not just shut down. But there was reportedly, been an Arkham game in the works behind the scenes. I have many questions about this, namely how long this would possibly take, given that it was 9 years between Arkham Knight and Suicide Squad. We have no idea like what kind of pace they would put out here. I also have to wonder if David Zaslav, who's like Mr. Bad Decisions at WB, would allow this to just be another single player one-off Arkham game, even in the wake of Hogwarts Legacy, like blowing everyone away as a single player game and Suicide Squad bombing as a live game. He was still talking about we need more live games. And so I wonder if they would somehow still try to make like an Arkham game as service. I was about to make a pun about a battle pass, okay, never mind. Hopefully it would just be a normal single player game. There's also questions about canon, whether it's, a reboot of all of Arkham or they're continuing with the Suicide Squad canon. I expect no one to be paying attention to this, but Suicide Squad did execute the Batman in the main story. The final chapter here with Deathstroke is supposed to bring Batman back. The whole point of this is like they didn't really kill the Suicide Squad. These were like clones, and like there's 200 people playing, so I would not expect people to know that. But Batman's not dead. But making Suicide Squad canon also seems like a bad idea. I don't know. We'll see. One thing I did not write about actually was Amazon is making a Mass Effect show. This is one of those like kind of I'll believe it when it happens things. I've heard about them making, not Amazon, but like in general, they've been trying to make a Mass Effect show for a decade, a really long time. And this is kind of something that's been rumbled about for ages at this point. However, the difference now appears to be that because Fallout was such a big hit, I think it's second biggest hit ever, I'm pretty sure, and it had Emmy nominations, the whole 9 yards, that Amazon seems a lot more comfortable, throwing out cash for these big live action game products. The most high profile one, besides this, that is still in development, is the God of War movie. God of War show, which is supposed to take place in the Norse era, but I think it just lost its showrunner or director or something, so that seems a little bit in jeopardy to some extent. And then you can throw a Mass Effect show on top of that. There's really not details about it, but I think it's fair to assume this would be an adaptation of the original trilogy to some extent. Whether that's Mass Effect 1 specifically, we don't know. I very much doubt they would just do an entirely new story in the Mass Effect universe that was not an adaptation. Granted, that's what Fallout did. Yeah, that's true. But I would argue Mass Effect as a very, very story-focused game, I think that would be a much better option for a straight adaptation. Obviously, we could go wild with casting, with who's going to play who, and which shepherd are they going to use, male or female shepherd, stuff like that. But I also think this is being pushed for by EA and BioWare because their next big game after Dragon Age is the new Mass Effect game. Everyone, they're done with Dragon Age, no DLC, nothing. Everyone is working on Mass Effect 5 now. That's probably going to be out in a couple years, and if they could have a Mass Effect show to go along with that, with not an adaptation of that game, but like of the trilogy to really increase interest in the series, that would be great for them. This did not happen with Fallout. People were wondering, clearly there's so much interest in Fallout, and there's no Fallout project remotely close to here. There's Fallout 76, but they just did Starfield. Their next big thing is Elder Scrolls, and Fallout 5 is not going to get here till I don't know, let's say 2032. So maybe they want to do that differently with Mass Effect. Speaking of BioWare, that leads me into my gaming time this week, which is still Dragon Age. I am doing a second playthrough. Mainly, there's two reasons for this. I wanted to see how combat felt on a different class. I'm now doing the warrior class as opposed to the rogue class to see, oh, maybe if someone did a different combat style, it's not as fun because people are complaining about combat. No, it's still really fun. I still really like this combat. And then I spent a really long time in the character creator trying to make like the best looking rook I could. And I am, not even just like attractiveness, but like just in terms of like a really, quality character. And I'm blown away by the potential of this character creator to make stunning rooks. I like my last one too. I've seen a lot of people make really, really great looking rooks with this system. The hair is crazy. I have no idea how they did the hair tech in this. Video game hair is notoriously awful. And like at best you get Alloy where it's like one character where they figured out her hair, but in a created character, like forget about it. This, I think, you can debate the art style a little bit, but the character creator kind of gets you around the art style. I think some of the NPCs they made are a little too cartoony, but you don't have to make your rook cartoony. Like it looks a lot less cartoony if you're making it yourself. So I don't know. That's been interesting for me. I just want to keep taking like endless screenshots of how good everything looks. In terms of actual gameplay, I was also trying to make a lot of opposite decisions to see how things change. Not much. This is one of the issues people had with, it feels like the game does not really make you make meaningful decisions. I'm like, I don't know, 80% of the way through the story right now. That's true. I do not think there are many significant differences almost at all between anything from choosing different dialogue options to, the main difference is picking which, sorry, spoilers, city to save. In the main storyline, whether it's Treviso or Docktown. If you pick Docktown, then Treviso gets blighted. If you pick Treviso, then Docktown gets taken over by the Venatori. It looks different, certainly. And like, for instance, now that I saved Treviso, that's normal. But in Docktown, there's more Venatori everywhere. There's some like crystal gates up, but like, it's not really fundamentally different. And all of the same quests essentially are still in both places. Maybe there's like an extra one or two or some tweaked ones, but it's not that different. You can make a decision at the end of each character's, loyalty quest where should you do this or this? Or like, should they embrace this philosophy or this philosophy? That changes their kind of extra power they get at the end. And, some dialogue stuff maybe, but not that much is different. As for the ending, like, I feel like to get a really significantly different ending, you just have to like totally fuck it up. Like, assign all your people to the wrong slots so they get killed, make the opposite decisions at the very end. But like, that almost feels like cheating. Like, if you don't do all the loyalty quests and assign all your characters the right way, they're going to die. So, that's different, but I think that's kind of cheating. So, this is a game I like for many reasons, but I agree with the criticism that there's not enough meaningful choices, and now I can really prove that by essentially doing a full playthrough of the game where maybe that was wrong. It's not wrong. It is still not great. I think combat is a very big strength of this game. I think it's very fun. I know it's not like past games, but it is very arcadey. I like making builds and synergy. I think it's very fun. So, and then moving even earlier, the other game that I'm not really playing anymore is Destiny Rising. Obviously, that is the mobile game that is currently in an alpha state where you can play through essentially the whole story and, upgrade things and grind out stuff, but they have kept the microtransaction store offline. Part of the reason is probably to hide how much things cost, but also none of your progress carries over from the alpha. So why would you let people spend money on stuff you're going to delete? That would make people really mad. I just, as I kind of predicted this, I don't really find this very sticky. I would rather be playing other things that are not a mobile shooter game. As I've said, there are some interesting aspects in here. I do like some of the different mission types they've invented. It's kind of funny. They have things like sparrow racing and some other systems that Destiny is lacking, but it's just very hard for me to envision, even when this is out of alpha, playing this in any significant state. If this had maybe like a quality PC version where I didn't have to like do all this bullshit to hook up my phone to my computer, I might be more prone to play that just because it's different. But it's just not hooking me past this initial like trial period of like, okay, this is a pretty good shooter. There's some good systems, but like the story is ass. Its writing is terrible. Like voice acting is terrible, and it's pretty good for a mobile shooter, but it's a mobile shooter, and I'd rather be playing anything else on PC or console. And so I don't know. Well, it's not really, as I've said before, I don't think it's for a huge swath of Destiny players. I know there was some overlap between Destiny folks and mobile folks or gacha folks or whatever. The whole character pull thing is, they finally put the Goth Warlock available to pull, but I'd already spent all my, things trying to get other characters. I got the like Devil Exo guy who's cool. Spent 10 rolls trying to get the Goth Warlock. Didn't get her. Like, welcome to gacha. This is how it works. And like in a normal game, I would, you'd be like, oh, I'm going to pay $30 and get all the pulls to need her. And like, you're essentially just buying characters unless you're doing like some sort of insane grind to rack up all of your currencies. It's a gacha game, so also they really weight heavily toward giving you a ton of currencies up front and then making them very stingy. Progression is linked to not just completing story missions, but like you got to upgrade your character to this level and spend all your resources on them. Oh, but you get a character you want later. Oh, now you don't have any resources for them. Like, too bad. So, maybe there's some people still playing the alpha and really enjoying it. I think I gave it enough time for now. Once it's launched in full and progress saves and stuff like that, maybe I'll play it some more. But also, if Destiny 2 is actually coming back with Act 2 stuff soon, I'm obviously going to prioritize that. I think it's just fine. I think Destiny Rising is maybe a little better than I thought it would be at least in terms of gameplay, but it's structured like a shitty mobile game in the end. And I think you are going to run into some significant progression walls at some point with this game. And I would be surprised if it was some sort of huge mega hit. It really depends on Asia. Like, will the Asian market, is huge into mobile and huge into gacha and stuff, will they embrace it? I don't know. If you're liking it, that's great. I certainly want the game to be a success, because like anything Destiny being a success is great for the brand as a whole, for Bungie as a whole. They're in a not great spot right now, so any boost they can get is great. That's my own personal view on it. So those are the 5 things I wanted to cover right now. If you like this segment, let me know in the comments. If you hate it, I don't know, I might do it anyway because I kind of like doing it. And I would like to keep making videos. It's just, I feel like there's been less stuff to make things about lately. So I don't know. If you have any other ideas, let me know in the comments too. But thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.